Hello everyone, this is Herc and welcome to another hologram guide. Today I will be going over Sentry Construct, one of the two holograms that is brand new to 2.0. This guide will be focusing on the last difficulty as it's the hardest one out of the 5. Although there are very little differences in the lower difficulties, they share the same moves throughout all difficulties. This guide will go over the different attacks the hologram boss will do and when to dodge. So without further ado, let's start. When you start the hologram fight, Sentry Construct will always start out with a parry attack, and this is the only version of this attack that you can parry. If you don't parry, Construct will slash from the left, slash from the right while jumping in the air, and then stab the ground. Then the boss will do a follow-up AoE explosion with the same arm. Finding the timing to dodge the attack is when the wing is visible and the arm looks like this. When the boss starts to move, you should begin to dodge. The second swipe will come rapidly without warning, so you will have a split second to dodge. Then Construct will jump in the air, slowing down. Once the arc disappears, Construct will come down to attack. Once the boss stabs the ground, there will be a shockwave, so you will have to time the dodge. Another thing I would like to point out is that when the construct drill hits the ground, there is some type of delay of the attack hitbox not appearing, so if you dodge too early, far away, or sometimes too close, you might end up getting hit. Moving on, another attack that you can parry is when construct crouches down and is getting ready to stab. I recommend parrying this attack as you will save yourself from a headache. However, if you end up missing the parry, there are two types of attacks Construct will do. Construct will either spin up to 4 times, with the last spin having a slight pause for suspense, or Construct will spin up to 3 times with the same function of the last spin, but will have a additional attack by slashing towards you, sending ice beams, and then smashing the ground. While you are able to dodge these attacks to deal additional damage, if you are not confident in dodging these sequence of attacks, I recommend parrying this attack. For the 3 spin attack, after the spin, his singular slash will have a red flash, and then a white flash will appear at the right claw of Construct. These are the times you should press dodge, so if you are having trouble finding the timing, there is a visual to help. For this next attack, Construct will sometimes do a one singular slam on its own, and most of the time, it's a random attack. It's hard to explain how to dodge this attack from a visual point because while there is a white flash that appears, this attack comes out very fast while the visual is actively there. For the next attack, Construct will slam the ground from the right side and then do a explosion right after. The timing for this attack is when the claw stops spinning, you should immediately dodge. Then for the explosion, it is subtle, but when Construct starts to move their entire body again, get ready to dodge. It's all visually fast, so you'll have to eye the timing. One of Construct's longer combos is when the boss slams from the left, does a upward swipe, a horizontal swipe from the right side, and then does a drill attack towards the ground, and a explosion at the end. The visual here for dodging is the white flash at the very beginning of the attack. When Construct moves forward, the upward swipe is a bit hard to see, just wait a sec, then dodge. Immediately dodge the horizontal swipe that comes after. Once the Construct charges a drill on the left, look for a red flash to appear, disappear, and that's when you should dodge, then dodge the explosion right after. The Construct also has a ranged ground attack. Construct will slide backwards and cast a ice floor below you, causing your character to flinch and shoot at you at the same time it's casted. I recommend dodging before the ice floor flinches you because your character will flinch and get CC'd. You will most likely get hit by the bullets, but if you're lucky, you can escape unscathed. The timing is pretty much when you don't see this wind effect anymore. However, you will have to dodge towards the Construct. At a certain point, Construct will go on all 4s and prepare to fly. This does do damage, so you will have to dodge. Sometimes before the Construct goes on all 4s, the boss will do a parry attack, and if you successfully parry, usually it should stagger the boss. However, Construct automatically goes into all 4s instead of getting staggered, which will catch you off guard if you aren't paying attention. Now during this flying phase, Construct will now add a new set of moves. Once Construct has flown away, it will cross its wings like this, and fly towards you, doing a X-slash on the ground, sending ice beams to all sides. An indication to dodge is when the red flash disappears, is when the boss will fly towards you. After the attack, this phase gets a little tricky because Construct can do a variety of attacks. The most common attack is where Construct will do a sudden side movement in which the boss will shoot 2 projectiles. These projectiles are invisible, I assume, and appear at the last second, and they come very fast, so you'll need to react quickly. The projectiles will leave a small arrow field on the ground, and in about 4 seconds, those arrow fields turn into ice circles that will explode if you're on top of it. There are 2 types of attack routes Construct can do after the projectile attacks. Fly towards you 2 times in the air, move sideways, and shoot 2 projectiles twice in a row, and then a aerial ranged attack. Or 2, released a barrage of ice missiles totaling in 10 missiles towards you, dash and shoot 2 projectiles, and then an aerial range attack. For the first route, Construct will cross their arms together, and you should prepare to dodge because the Construct will air dash through you. Then the Construct will repeat it again. The Construct will then move to the side twice, shooting 2 projectiles. The Construct will transform their claws into guns and dash away from you, casting an ice floor which will flinch your character and shoot. It is the same move that the Construct does on the floor, but in the air. For the second route, Construct will cross their arms again, but you'll see a white light accumulating at the center of the Construct. It will shoot a barrage of ice missiles. The missiles will appear above you, and the indicator is when this particle appears is when you should start dodging. The attack will come very quickly, and it comes in waves. 3 missiles first, then 5 missiles, then 2 missiles. Construct will dash twice right after, then use the range attack. Although these are the attack routes that I've encountered, it may be different, but generally these are the moves that the Construct will usually do most of the time. However, once any of these 2 combos finish, Construct will move to the side again, shooting 2 more projectiles and then a parry attack. I recommend parrying this attack because this completely takes the boss off the air and back to the ground. If you parry successfully, the Construct will tumble to the ground and get back up. The Construct will then back up and deploy the wings to act as a shield. During this time, the Construct will regenerate vibration strength. To break the formation, you have to grapple above the Construct and hit the Construct from behind. The Construct can do damage when forming the shield, and to avoid it, you either dodge or you're already in the air getting ready to break the Construct shield. The Construct can also break the shield form if you cross the shield barrier. The boss will retaliate by doing a half-arc shockwave, swing their wings towards you, creating ice beams, and smashing the ground. You don't want this attack to happen, so you should always try to grapple above the Construct to break the formation. Okay, so what happens if you end up missing the parry? Well, if you miss the parry, the Construct will do a X-slash onto the ground, sending multiple ice beams, and will continue to do any of the aerial attacks, which can be often random. However, there is another attack Construct will do, and it's very fast. Construct will cross their arms once again, but this time will do a very quick spin attack in the air, and then stab the ground with their right claw with a shockwave right after. There's no pause when it transitions from its crossed arms to a spin attack, so you will have to dodge immediately. To dodge this attack, just look out for the red flash and dodge right after it disappears. Then dodge the right claw attack, and then the shockwave it produces right after. Then the Construct will be on the ground. Just to note that this attack will only appear if you fail to parry. However, most of the time, the Construct will cycle through other attacks as well. So this is more of a uncommon, but it can happen. If the Construct does not do a quick spin attack, Construct will usually move sideways and shoot projectiles or do a barrage of missiles, but eventually the Construct will do a parry swipe twice in a row. Succeeding will make the boss tumble to the ground and introduce you to another attack if you haven't encountered it so far. If you succeed in parrying, the Construct will produce a shockwave underneath it and also shoot a ice laser at your last known location and try to follow your movements. After a while, Construct will throw the ice ball to the ground, making a AoE explosion. If you are close to the Construct, you will need to dodge as the shockwave will hit you, and you should be able to dodge the ice laser because it will shoot at your last known location. However, at the end of the beam, you will need to dodge when the Construct drops the ice ball. Now, if you don't parry these last 2 attacks before, the Construct will slash the floor, sending ice beams and soar very high in the sky. There, you will have a golden beacon on top of you, and the construct will dive bomb once the beacon disappears, so make sure to dodge when it disappears. Once the dive bomb happens, there will be ice spikes that pop out from the ground right after, so you will have to dodge again. This attack should be very familiar if you've played Monster Hunter before, so you'll know what you'll be walking into. There is another version of the dive bomb, and it's when the construct is actually on the ground. The boss will swipe up with its right arm and do a backflip at the same time. Then the construct will crouch and fly up high. Instead of putting a beacon on you, it will first shoot about 12 missiles towards you. I would probably dodge after you see a ton of these circles just pop up. Then the boss will put a beacon on you and will proceed to do a dive bomb right after the beacon disappears. Once the boss succeeds in doing a dive bomb, the construct will twirl backwards and then rush towards you with a drill uppercut. The timing might be a little rough here, but you'll have to eye the dodge. Now, we're almost reaching the end. There are a couple more attacks that the hologram boss does, and yeah, it's a pretty long list. For the last few attacks, they are like a combination of other attacks combined. They are only used when the boss is low health, and we can pretty much label these as desperation combos. I will probably just throw these attack moves as quickly as I can, so these attacks should be very familiar. You just have to be very reactive. Sentry construct can do the following: claw slam for the left, a vertical swipe, a horizontal swipe, then we'll do a parry stab. If you don't parry this, the construct will always spin 4 times. 2. Stab the ground from the right side, a claw slam from the left side, a horizontal swipe from the right, drill attack from the left, and then a explosion right after. 3. Backstep stab, a very quick slam and another slam. The attack after the stab is very quick, so you have to dodge immediately. These are the attacks so far that I've seen the boss do when it's at low health. I'm not sure if there are any more surprise attacks the hologram boss does, but if there is, leave a comment down below. Now, we have finally reached the end of the guide. Go to be 100% honest, some of these attacks you'll never encounter if you correctly parry or do your rotations correctly. This is just a short case of what the boss can do. If you don't parry, you're either trying to solo clear, or you're clearly just stalling, or you're just having trouble fighting the boss. Out of the two, I think Sentry Construct is harder than Fallacy in my opinion, due to how many moves Construct has, and some of the moves have some weird hitboxes. I believe this hologram has the most moves out of all of the holograms, but you probably will never see about some of these moves unless you really stall or you don't parry at all. I enjoyed fighting this hologram boss and taking my time to learn how to fight this boss. It definitely felt more enjoyable than Inferno Rider, and Inferno Rider sucked ass. Well, that is it for the video. What do you think about it? Comment down below if you have any questions, or give it a like if you think it's good, or dislike it if you think it fucking sucks. But anyways, here's my monthly guide video. Peace.